Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Cyber Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is an amazing going second deck that I'm playing all sorts of amazing tech cards in to be able to completely destroy your opponent's board, which is just amazing. This deck is super fun to be able to play and I'm really excited to show you guys this list. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description every single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. This card is an extremely nostalgic card that you definitely want to play as a 3 of in the deck. And it has a super simple effect that if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monster, you can instantly special summon this card from your hand to your side of the field, which is an amazing effect to instantly get this card on your side of the field to do some amazing plays. This card is a definite 3 of in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. Cyber Dragon Core is an amazing card, and all of your Cyber Dragon monsters actually count as Cyber Dragon while on the field and in the graveyard, which is an amazing thing because you can actually combo with a card called Machine Duplication, which is an awesome card to activate by targeting this card on your side of the field because it will actually let you special out 2 of the original Cyber Dragon instead of Cyber Dragon Core, which is an amazing thing to be able to do. But this card is awesome in the deck, and it's the best normal summon because when this card is normal summon, you can add a Cyber Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, which we have a bunch of options in this deck to be able to do, which is really cool to be able to add cards like Cyber Emergency, which is a Rhoda, cards like your Cyber Load Fusion, which is a Polymerization, and this card is just amazing in the deck because it also has a graveyard effect that if your opponent controls a monster and you don't control a monster, you can banish this card from the graveyard to special summon a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck to your side of the field, but you can only get either or of this card's effects per turn and only once that turn. But this card is hands down the best card in the entire deck. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Hertz. Cyber Dragon Hertz is a definite 3 of the deck, and this card is amazing because if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 other Cyber Dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is amazing to be able to search out the original Cyber Dragon directly from your deck, or any of your Cyber Dragon monsters that count as Cyber Dragon from your graveyard back to your hand. For example, your copy of Cyber Dragon Core will count as Cyber Dragon while in the graveyard, so this card can grab it back out of the graveyard to your hand, which is amazing. This card also has the ability in its special summon, you can make this card's level become 5, which is great to be able to use on this card to be able to instantly get a level 5 on your side of the field so you can make Nova and then Infinity. We then play 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Nashter. Nashter is also one of the best cards in the entire deck, but you only want to play 2 copies of this card in the deck because it does take a little bit of setup. And it's great because this card has the ability you can discard 1 other monster to special summon this card from your hand, and if it's normal or special summon, you can actually target a machine monster with 2100 attack or defense in your graveyard and special summon it to your side of the field, but it locks you into summoning machine monsters for the rest of the turn, which is totally fine. But this card is amazing to be able to use in the deck because you can actually bring back Cyber Dragon, the original Cyber Dragon, from your graveyard to your side of the field, which is just absolutely amazing about this card. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dragon Veer. I really like 1 copy of Veer in this particular build, especially with this being a going second build, because this card is basically like Kage to Kage, that if you normally special summon a Cyber Dragon to your side of the field, except during a damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense, and it also has the ability each Cyber Dragon that you control on your side of the field that gains 500 attack and defense points, which is a great effect to help you OTK your opponent. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dark Chimera. This card is amazing in the deck as a 1 of because you can actually search it off your copy of your Cyber Dark Realm, and it also searches your copies of Power Bond because you can actually normal summon out a copy of Cyber Dragon Core to your side of the field, search out Realm, activate Realm, summon out this to your side of the field, and then use this card's ability because you get an additional normal summon off of Realm to be able to discard a spell or trap from your hand to search out a copy of Power Bond directly from your deck to your hand, which is amazing to be able to use that effect because after you use the effect to be able to search Power Bomb, this card actually lets you fusion summon using monsters from your hand, field, or graveyard, basically turning Power Bond into a copy of Overload Fusion, which is amazing and just really easy to be able to make a really powerful fusion monster with this card's effect. We then play 2 copies of Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier is still really good in the deck, so it lets you send one other light monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand to your side of the field in defense. And when this card is special summoned, you can add a Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, which can be another copy of Galaxy Soldier that you can search off this card's effect, which is really cool to instantly get another copy of this card from your deck to your hand, because it's going to give you a level 5 on your side of the field to make Nova and Infinity. We then play 3 copies of the Star Destroying Kaiju. This card is insane as the 3 of the deck, because you can link it away or contact it away into a copy of Fortress Dragon, which is amazing to be able to contact it away for a copy of Fortress Dragon, which is just amazing because just off of a normal summon of any of your Cyber Dragon monsters and summoning this card to your opponent's side of the field, you can make Fortress Dragon with this card and a monster that your opponent controls, because it is a machine monster, so it's very easy to be able to out your opponent's cards and even out this card that you give to your opponent, giving you a boss monster on the field. But it's really cool to just contact fuse without even using polymerization. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom to round out the monsters. This card is amazing as a 3 of the deck, just to basically stop your opponent from touching the deck, and it's a really awesome hand trap in today's format. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Rev System. Rev System's really good because this card is a monster reborn for your Cyber Dragons, which is just amazing to be able to use because it lets you special summon a Cyber Dragon from your hand or graveyard, which we're always summoning it from the graveyard off this card's effect, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is just a really insane effect to be able to add to your Cyber Dragons. We then play a single copy of Cyber Repair Plant. Repair Plant is really good because this card has the ability, if Cyber Dragon is in your graveyard, you can activate one of these effects, and if you have 3 or more Cyber Dragons in your graveyard at activation, you can activate both effects and then resolve in sequence. You can add a light machine monster from your deck to your hand, and you can target a light machine monster in your graveyard and shuffle it back into the deck, which is a really good effect to be able to use. You can actually search out your copy of your Kaiju directly from your deck to your hand off this card's effect, because it adds a light machine monster from your deck to your hand, which is great, while also being able to recycle resources, which is amazing. We then play a single copy of Overload Fusion. Overload Fusion is insane in this deck. It lets you fusion summon a dark machine monster from your X deck, banishing the materials from your field or graveyard, which is a pretty good effect to be able to use. The only downside is this card is not searchable. We then play a single copy of Load Fusion. Load Fusion's really good at recycling your resources, while also giving you a really powerful boss monster onto your side of the field, because it has the ability to fusion summon a fusion monster from your X deck that lists a Cyber Dragon monster as material by shuffling the fusion materials listed on it into the deck from among cards on the field and or face up that are banished, which is great to be able to do, to be able to recycle your copies of your banished Cyber Dragons back into the deck to be able to make a really powerful monster. This card is just insane to be able to use. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dark Realm. Cyber Dark Realm searches out our copy of Chimera directly from our deck to our hand, and also gives us an additional normal summon of a Cyber Dark monster, so you can also just instantly summon it to your side of the field, which is amazing. We then play 2 copies of Powerball, and this is how we actually OTK our opponent. Play a couple of different fusion monsters that we can make with this card, but the monster you actually fusion summon using this card is going to be at double attack, which is just amazing to be able to do. I love this card in the deck because it helps you OTK extremely easily, and it's an awesome 2 of in the deck that you can search off your copy of Chimera. We then play 3 copies of Raigeki. Raigeki is amazing in the deck, especially since this is a going second build. This card just completely destroys all your opponent's monsters on the field and helps you go in for game, because you can deal with your opponent's monsters or even bait out a negate against your opponent by using this card on your side of the field and destroying all your opponent's monsters, or they have to negate this card. So it's really awesome to be able to play this card and destroy your opponent's monsters on the field. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. Emergency is amazing because it lets you add a light machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, or a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck to your hand, which is great to be able to use because essentially this card is the Rhoda for the deck. We then play 3 copies of Machine Duplication. The cool thing about this card is all of your Cyber Dragons in the deck actually count as Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, so as long as they have less than 500 attack, you can actually special summon out 2 original Cyber Dragons to your side of the field. For example, if you have a copy of Core on your side of the field, you can activate this card, target the copy of Core on the field, and special summon out 2 Cyber Dragons from your deck to your side of the field, which is amazing to be able to do with this card. I love that about this card, and it's such a powerful 3-of in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Clockwork Knight, which is why I'm actually playing the going second build of this deck. This card is amazing because if you activate Clockwork Knight, you can basically contact fuse your opponent's entire field away, because if you summon out a copy of any Cyber Dragon monster to your side of the field, your copy of Clockwork Knight will make every monster on your opponent's side of the field become machine, and then you can summon out a copy of Fortress Dragon using any Cyber Dragon monster that you have on your side of the field, which is amazing to be able to do because it just deals with your opponent's entire field all at once and gets you a really powerful boss monster. This card also has a great effect that all face-up monsters on the field become machine, and the machine monsters that you control gain 500 attack and defense, and also all machine monsters your opponent controls loses 500 attack and defense, giving you even more advantage to be able to OTK your opponent. And this card is just absolutely crazy because you can summon out Fortress Dragon so easily with this card. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Infinity, which playing both artworks is always the best. This card is amazing because it's a walking negate, and it's so easy to be able to summon to your side of the field off your copy of Nova, but you can only special summon this card once per turn. I also love this card's effect that it actually target a face-up attack position monster on the field and attach to this card as a material, and for every material this card has, it gains 200 attack points, making this card a crazy boss monster to be able to make on the field. We then play 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Nova. Nova is amazing to help you OTK, but usually you're using this card to climb into your copy of Infinity, but a lot of people forget about this card's amazing effect before you summon out your copy of Infinity. You can actually use the ability to detach a material from this card, target a Cyber Dragon monster in your graveyard, and special summon that target back to your side of the field, which is amazing to instantly get another copy of Cyber Dragon back onto your side of the field off this card's effect. This card also helps you OTK your opponent because it has a great effect that you can once per turn during either player's turn banish a Cyber Dragon from your hand or face up from your monster zone, and then this card gains 2100 attack points, boosting this card up to 4200, which makes it really easy to OTK your opponent. I love that about this card, and it's just an amazing boss monster to make, especially if your opponent destroys this card, because if your opponent and this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard because of an opponent's card effect, then you can special summon a machine fusion monster from your extra deck, which can get you some really powerful fusion monsters instantly on the field. We then play a single copy of AA Zeus to round out the XZs. This card is great to be able to board wipe the field, and it's just an awesome card to be able to make on top of your copy of Nova or Infinity. We then play a single copy of Mega Fleet. Mega Fleet's really good because it lets you contact fuse away cards that are in the extra monster zone, which is just amazing. We then play 2 copies of Fortress Dragon. Fortress Dragon is the MVP of the extra deck. This card is amazing because it takes a Cyber Dragon plus 1 or more machine monsters to make this card, and you don't have to use polymerization to make a Mega Fleet or your copy of Fortress Dragon. You just have to contact fuse the monsters away, which is amazing to be able to do, because with cards like Clockwork Knight, you can actually use cards on your opponent's side of the field with this card's effect, which is just amazing. I love that about this card. It can just eat every single machine monster on the field to make this card, and for every material you put into your copy of Fortress Dragon, it goes up by 1000 attack points. So if you use 5 monsters on your opponent's side of the field and 1 on yours, it comes out at 6000. This card is essentially a board wipe while also getting you a boss monster on the field that can be huge. We then play a single copy of Cyber End Dragon. It's too nostalgic not to play in this deck, and this card is amazing because it does piercing damage. It's very easy to bring out with Power Bond, and it comes out at 8000 if you use Power Bond, and it's just a really nostalgic card to play in this deck. We then play a single copy of Cyber Twin. This card can attack twice, which is amazing, and bringing it out with Power Bomb will boost this card up to 56, which is amazing to be able to do, and it's very easy to put on your side of the field because it just requires 2 Cyber Dragons to make this card. We then play a single copy of Rampage Dragon. Rampage Dragon is amazing to make with Overload Fusion because this card can attack multiple times and pop spells and traps on the field, which is just really cool. It's also really good to be able to bring out with your copy of Power Bond because it can OTK your opponent, and just really awesome card to be able to play. Then play a single copy of Seeger. Seeger is really good in this deck as a one-of because it can boost one of your monster's attacks up by 2100, which is really good to be able to do with this card. We then play a single copy of Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh just protects you from attacks, and it really helps out to be able to link away your copy of Hertz to the graveyard to be able to put it in the grave so you can search out a copy of Cyber Dragon. We then play a single copy of Relinquished Anima. We are playing the Kaiju in the deck, so you can actually put the Kaiju in the zone you want to put it in, which is really cool because then you can put it in the zone that Relinquished Anima is going to point to and get you a 3,300 attack point Relinquished Anima, which is insane. We then play a single copy of Salamangreat Alamirage because it can help you get your copies of your Cyber Dragons off your side of the field. For example, linking away a copy of Cord that you've already used its effect to be able to make this card to give you a little bit of protection. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Cyber Dragons before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's just an awesome deck to be able to play. It's super nostalgic. It's one of my favorite decks to play because you can summon out all sorts of crazy powerful boss monsters, and it's a really fun deck. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. And definitely check out the live duels on the channel of Cyber Dragon. See you later, guys.